So welcome back to Historic Hospitality. Today I'm taking you through the incredible history of Kew Gardens, a place I recently visited and was absolutely blown away by. It was founded in 1759. Kew started as a royal garden and has grown into one of the world's most important botanical research centres. It's home to over 50,000 plant species, stunning Victorian glasshouses, and even the world's oldest pot plant. From its royal roots to its role in global plant conservation, Kew is a living museum of nature. So join me as we explore its past, its beauty, and why it still matters today. As always, there will be things in the way of pronouncing names I just can't, right? I tried beforehand and it goes horribly wrong. So let's start a little bit differently. We'll start with the palace. So the palace on the grounds was built by Samuel Fortree in the 1600s. Now, he was a wealthy silk merchant of Flemish Huguenot descent. Now, Fortree built the Riverside Mansion in 1631. Originally known as the Dutch House, it featured artisan Mannerist architecture in red brick, gabled roofs, chimneys, and very tall windows. They were very fashionable among the elite of the period. So after nearly a century in private hands, the royal family began leasing out the house in the 1720s. George II and Queen Caroline rented it and the nearby houses, because there's quite a lot on the grounds when you walk around, to provide residences for their daughters away from court life. The royals at Kew, they were establishing it as a retreat. King George I of 1683 to 1760, as a king, he and Queen Caroline leased the houses around 1728, attracting Frederick, Prince of Wales, and others to live at Kew. They sought a domestic, private environment removed from ceremonial obligations. Princess Augusta, 1713 to 1772, Frederick's wife and widow, she officially founded the original Botanic Garden at Kew. In 1759, she was planting collections of exotic species and shaping Kew into an enlightened botanical retreat. George III, born in 1738, educated at Kew Palace from childhood. He inherited the estate in 1772. He bought the palace outright in 1781 and expanded the gardens. A natural history enthusiast, he patroned Captain Cook and Sir Joseph Banks. Under his auspices, Kew became a centre of discovery. New plant specimens were sent to his garden first. Had to be done. He oversaw buildings like the Great Pagoda in 1762, designed by William Chambers. Charlotte, his queen, commissioned Queen Charlotte's Cottage before 1771. Now, she lived and died at Kew in 1818, and the room remained unchanged at the Queen Victoria's request.
Non più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno d'intorno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto Addoncino d'amor. Delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto Addoncino d'amor. Non più avrai questi bei panacchini, quel cappello leggero galante, quella chioma, quell'aria brillante, quel vermiglio d'onesco color, quel vermiglio.
By 1769, over 3,400 plant species were grown, reflecting imperial plant exchange and scientific curiosity. Francis Masson, a Scottish collector appointed by the Prince of Wales in 1771, helped import plants from abroad, especially economic species, such as the Chichona, is it Chichona? Something like that, Don't know, sorry, and the rubber plant. Under George III, the Great Pagoda added to the horticultural prestige, as did the merging of Kew and Richmond estates in 1772, making multiple garden areas into Kew Gardens as we know it today, the plural. It became a national and professional treasure. William Ayton was born near Hamilton. Trained as a gardener under Philip Miller, he became the first director of the new Botanical Garden at Kew from 1759. He improved layouts and published the seminal Hortus Kewensis in 1789, cataloguing the collection. William Townsend Ayton, 1766, his son, born at Kew in 1766, continued his father's work and enlarged the edition of the Hortus. He succeeded his father as superintendent in 1793, expanding the garden and advising royals on the projects like Buckingham Landscapes. Trained as a botanist and artist, he drastically expanded the garden from 11 acres to a huge amount of 270 acres. He added glasshouses, the Palm House in 1843, and opened Kew daily to the public. Under his leadership, Kew became a central hub of imperial botany and international exchange. Sir Joseph Dalton Hooker, 1817 to 1911, his son, took over in 1865. He continued expanding research, global scientific collaboration, and also, like they do in this day and age, staff training. Kew became a global centre for botanical science, plant taxonomy and imperial economic botany. Modern stewardship and legacy. So in 1840, a parliamentary review recommended professionalising the gardens. Shortly after, the gardens were conveyed to the nation, departing from exclusive royal ownership. Expansion continued through the 20th century to the current size, approximately 300 acres in 2003. Kew was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site for its scientific, botanical and cultural importance. Today it employs over 1,100 staff conducting cutting-edge research in conservation, taxonomy and plant sciences across locations including Wakehurst. Its landmark structures include the Palm House and the Pagoda, architectural icons of garden design. Now when I went there, I was trying to find the pagoda, the mother was looking for the palace. I still prefer the pagoda, although I love palaces and old buildings. So it's well worth trying to find those. The map can be a little bit tricky to work out where you are. But let's do a timeline summary of some of the most notable points and key figures. Period key figures of contribution. So from 1631, Samuel Fortree built the Dutch house. 1728, George, the good old king, with Queen Caroline, Princess Augusta, the royal residential use was formed with the first botanical garden. In 1772, George III inherits the estates, acquired the palace and expanded the garden. 1759 to 1793, William Ayton, director, published the Hortus Cuensis. I hope I'm saying Hortus Cuensis right. Somebody will let me know and complain at me, but either way, is what it is. In 1841, 1865, Sir W.J. Hooker became the first full-time director, opening the Arboretum Major Glasshouse. In 1865 to 1885, Sir J.D. Hooker, Scientific Expansion, Global Botanical Network. 1841 to 1888, John Smith, curator, had a massive collection growth in institutional continuing and expansion. The Palm House at Kew Gardens was restored in 1955 to 1995. Engineer Richard Turner, from 1798 to 1881, was an Irish iron founder from Dublin, famed for Dublin's glasshouse at the Botanic Gardens in Glasnevin. Why it was groundbreaking: it was the first large-scale glasshouse to be built using wrought iron, preceding the Crystal Palace in 1851, and marking a pivotal moment in Victorian engineering. So let's talk about the Palm House at Kew. 1844 to 1848, and it was restored, as I say, in 1955 to 1995. The new renovation is due in 2027. The design and the construction was by architect Decimus Burton, who lived from 1800 to 1881, son of renowned landscaper designer James Burton. Known for classical and iron architecture, example Hyde Park's Wellington Arch. Decimus was appointed to create a structure worthy of Britain's imperial botanical ambitions. The almost ship-like skeleton of curved iron ribs and glass reflects the technology of shipbuilding at the time. Turner repurposed techniques from steamship hulls to create the massive arched frame, originally glazed with hand-blown cylindrical glass in timber sash bars, later replaced with modern panels during restorations. Designed to house tropical plants collected during the 19th century expeditions, many gathered under the direction of Sir William Hooker, the garden's first full-time director. Focus on palms, tropical ferns, cycads and rainforest trees, including a cycad from South Africa collected in 1775, considered to be the oldest potted plant in the world, potentially. So altogether, species collected during the imperial explorations in Africa, the Caribbean, India and Southeast Asia. It's a pretty impressive collection, well worth seeing. There are plans in 2027. A new £50 million carbon neutral renovation will begin. 16,000 panes of glass will be removed and then reinstalled. Plants will be temporarily rehoused in heated greenhouses. Gas boilers will be replaced with sustainable air and water source heat pumps. The aim: to make it the first net zero historical glasshouse by 2030. The Palm House became a blueprint for the glasshouse architecture in Victorian Britain and the colonies, influencing greenhouse and conservatory designs worldwide. It's a living archive of colonial-era plant introductions and a scientific classroom for evolutionary botany, ecology and conservation. So here we are, the Great Pagoda, 1762 but restored in 2018. Sir William Chambers trained with the Swedish East India Company and influenced by Chinese design during his visits to Canton. It was built for Princess Augusta, mother of George III, as part of her vision for a cosmopolitan and experimental royal garden. Originally surrounded by a pleasure ground or a theme of buildings and follies, each represented different world cultures, a reflection of Enlightenment fascination with global aesthetics. It's another hard word, here we go. A chinoiserie masterpiece, 10 octagonal stories with projecting eaves and tapering in height. The height, 50 metres or 163 feet, then one of the tallest structures in Britain. The original design included 80 wooden gilded dragons perched on every eave, removed in 1784, likely due to wind and rot damage. The structure is made of brick and timber with slate roofs and intricate lattice window detailing. No internal stairs above the 8th floor were open to the public until the modern restoration. Each level offers a panoramic view of Kew and the Thames Valley, intended to be both scenic and symbolic of global domination. So if you appreciate architecture and things of this nature and the Asian design, again, well worth going to see it to have a look. So before we finish the documentary, there's so much I could have said about this place, the history, the people, but I have to try and keep it reasonably concise to a 20-minute format. So before we go, I just wanted to put in a little bit more footage that was well worth seeing that I took on the day. That's it from me. Thank you very much for joining me. Do take a look at the channel. We have other features, including Kensington Palace, which is connected, and also other videos of hospitality and history. Please do like the video, subscribe, drop a notifications bell on there, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Good night.